Oftentimes when I find people that say they always feel tightness, tension, or there's a lot of fatigue or overwork happening at the lower back with this following lifting or following running, one thing I like to look at is hip extension. When they're extending the hips, are they doing so in isolation, or are they really compensating and using that lower back to arch, extend, to provide them more motion to then push off and propel their body forward or perform whatever strength training exercise they're performing. So getting into the quadruped position, you can see a couple different ways to do this. I can do this the wrong way, and I can extend. If you look at my low back there, I'm extending, and I'm actually really using those muscles around the lower back to extend and causing tons of compression. So my low back's actually going into extension, if not hyperextension, as I lift my hip up. So is that the position you're putting yourself in when you perform normal movements? Whether you're doing the deadlift, you come to the top of a deadlift, Romanian deadlift, you're coming in and driving into extension, over recruiting through some of the QL erectors and those muscles of the lower back. And especially so if you're running, as you run, are you maintaining neutral spine, or are you losing that position because you don't have hip extension? So your lower back, every single time you push off, is going into just a small degree of extension to start to overwork and really fatigue those muscles. Versus, are you able to hold neutral? So I'm using core here, and I'm extending through the hip, through the full hip extension, without overly extending the back in the spine. So that is something very important to consider if you're experiencing a lot of constant tightness or tension in the lower back. Is where's your motion coming from? As you extend the hips, propel your body, push you off forward, or perform that strength training exercise, are you actually not using the hips properly, not able to either stabilize the spine and the pelvis? That's causing a lot of lower back extension, because a lot of times that lower back extension is just enough to always feel like that lower back is constantly tight, and despite stretching it, a lot of people just go ahead and continue to stretch or foam roll or to work into the lower back. The lower back may not be the problem. The problem may actually be coming from the hip joint. Inability to extend the hip is going to cause that lower back to work a little bit harder just to accomplish that motion. So start to look elsewhere if you're struggling with a lot of tightness and tension in the lower back.